You see this right here, folks? I'm holding a jar of the best mayonnaise on the planet, Duke's mayonnaise. Love this on my bologna sandwiches. And I'm going to like it even more after West Virginia officially gets announced they're in this game, because they are. In the drastic turn of events, folks, it looks like the Mountaineers are going to be playing in a bowl game that was not originally even affiliated with the Big 12 Conference, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It's supposed to be between an ACC team and an SEC team. But because the SEC doesn't have enough bowl-eligible teams, they're having to make some trades, and West Virginia could end up reaping the benefits playing in Charlotte, North Carolina in this game. And West Virginia fans couldn't be more excited. I mean, Charlotte to us is almost like a home game. So me, as someone who lives only 3 hours from Charlotte, I'm tickled to death. I can't wait. I haven't seen it officially announced yet other than in the media. And a tweet put out by West Virginia AD Rim Baker kind of trolling the whole situation, being funny, which is really cool. But he put out a tweet with 2 hearts and a picture of Duke's mayonnaise being squirted on a cheesecake, which sounds disgusting, by the way. But nonetheless, it looks like West Virginia is going to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But what I want to talk about first in this show, on this live stream, thanks to all of you for joining me here. What I want to talk about first is Florida State being left out of the college football playoff picture. Very, very controversial topic, causing a lot of controversy throughout the college football media, throughout Twitter, throughout the ACC is not happy about it. Florida State obviously is not happy about it. A lot of fans aren't happy about it. But before we get into that, I want to really quick give you guys a shout out, or give a shout out rather, to my channel sponsor here, and that's Dutch Miller Automotive. So we will get back to the topic at hand here in about 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com, or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. All right, thank you guys for being patient with me, letting me get through my shout out. I got to give a shout out to Dutch Miller. They help me keep the lights on here, guys. So got to give them a shout out. When you're in the hunt for your next vehicle purchase or some service work, go to DutchMillerAuto.com, or if they have a location near you, just go by and check them out. They do have locations outside of West Virginia as well, so be sure to go to see if they have a location near you. Now, before we get any further, I want to give a shout out to a few commenters in here. First off, I already got a $10 super chat in the house. I got to thank Oaksters Live. Thank you for the $10 super chat or $10 donation. I don't see a comment along with it, Oakster, but thank you for the support. If you do want to leave a comment, I'll be sure to try to find it in the chat box. Also have Kenny Evans, a channel member in the house, a VIP member here at Couz's Corner. He says, FSU got screwed. NCAA is a joke. They are terrible for college sports. And I agree with you. And I agree with you for a little different reason than others might agree with you. Last night on Twitter, I got in an argument, a debate with some folks about this topic, and I was saying, hey, FSU deserves to be in. They should be in. They won their Power 5 league. They're undefeated. All of that. I think they earned it. And then today I'm watching the selection show, and they put up the strength of schedule on the screen between Florida State and Alabama. And, of course, Florida State's strength of schedule was not quite, or actually was not even close to Alabama's. So that made me kind of lean towards, well, maybe Florida State doesn't deserve it. Or I don't want to say doesn't deserve it. Maybe they're not one of the best teams. But then I hear the selection committee president or chair, Boo Corrigan, get on there and give his explanation. And his explanation of why they picked Alabama over Florida State was because Florida State's quarterback, Jordan Travis, who has been a Heisman candidate basically all year and is a really good player and a difference maker, no doubt, is injured and will not be playing in the game. And I just think that is one of the dumbest reasons to keep a team out of a playoff or a tournament of any sort that I've ever heard. Now, and I understand it's part of their guidelines. It's part of the criteria they use is injuries. And because it's part of their criteria, then yes, they had a right and probably did the right thing by keeping them out. But here's the problem I have. The problem I have is the criteria. That should not even be in the criteria. That should not even be part of the discussion. A player getting injured, that's just part of the game, man. And I don't think, I mean, they won 2 games without their starting quarterback, including the ACC championship with their third string quarterback. To me, that matters. That shows that the rest of the team is good, number one. And yes, the offense didn't put up as many points as they would have with Jordan Travis, but they beat a Louisville team who I think has a top 20 offense in the country, and they held them to what, 6 points? That means that Florida State defense is lights out, and that defense deserves to be in the college football playoff. So my problem is not that they stuck to the criteria, because they did, and they did what the criteria says. My problem is the criteria is stupid. An injury should not play a role in it, okay? Number one. Number two, the committee is hypocritical. They want to use things like strength of schedule, injuries, all this other stuff to select the college football playoff. And then the college football playoff also selects the New Year's Six bowl games, folks. Let's not forget that. So when they're selecting the criteria for the New Year's Six bowl games, they pick Liberty as the group of 5 representative to get in over SMU. And one of the reasons they gave, even though SMU played 2 Power 5 teams, their 2 losses were both the Power 5 teams, is my understanding. Liberty didn't play any Power 5 teams. So if strength of schedule is your criteria, then why would you basically punish SMU for playing Power 5 teams? It makes absolutely no sense to me. It's like you want to use the criteria for one game or one set of teams, but you don't want to use the criteria for somebody else. And if you're not going to use it for everybody the same way and weighted equally, then don't use it at all. It really makes it look like there's SEC bias here. And it's hard not to feel that way when crap like this happens. And I'm not a Florida State fan, and I'm not going to sit here and beat the drum for the ACC because I'm not an ACC fan. I'm a Big 12 guy, right? But what's right is right. Florida State should have a chance to play for a national championship because they're undefeated in a power conference, period. And you want to talk about strength out non-conference schedules, they played 2 SEC teams out of conference. One of those, at least one of those, if not both, were on the road, and they won them both, including a win over LSU by, I think, three scores, 3 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. So Florida State deserves a chance, but the problem is the criteria doesn't call for who deserves it. They call for the quote-unquote 3 best teams, which, again, is a matter of opinion. But it needs to be decided on the field. It needs to be decided on the field, not by a committee of people based it on opinion. Every other sport, I would go back to Jed Drenning, West Virginia sideline reporter Jed Drenning tweeted out today a rant by the late, great Mike Leach when someone asked him about the college football playoff committee and how they pick the teams. And he went on a rant about how every sport in America chooses to determine their champion by results on the field. It's only college football who leaves it up to the hands of people's opinions. And I think that's ridiculous. This 12-team playoff couldn't come soon enough. Could not come soon enough, man, because then Florida State would be playing for a national championship like they should be. Another thing that I was a little bit perturbed by was the fact that Oklahoma got left out of the New Year's Six, or Oklahoma State, for that matter, got left out of the New Year's Six bowl picture. There is not one now Texas did get into the college football playoff, but when you look at the other New Year's Six bowls, there's not one Big 12 representative in any of those games. So almost, I think every team but 2 3, Oregon, Florida State, you've got Oregon, Florida State, and Liberty, which the Liberty, they have to put a G5 team in. That's a requirement. Obviously, Florida State deserves that New Year's Six game, and so does Oregon. But every other team in the New Year's Six is either an SEC or a Big 10 team. So when you look at that, it's hard not to see bias. And folks, I've had my share of conflict or whatever you want to call it with Oklahoma fans in the last few weeks. But I'm here to tell you, that team, in my opinion, deserves a New Year's Six bowl game. That's a good football team. We saw what they did to West Virginia. They flat out destroyed us down there in Norman. They beat Texas head-to-head, who's in the college football playoff. Yes, they did lose to Oklahoma State. I get it. They did lose to, I think it was Kansas. I understand that. But Oklahoma is a good football team, and they deserve a New Year's Six bowl bid, in my opinion. And to leave the Big 12 out of that, to me, is ridiculous. And it's just not right. Let me get to some comments here real quick, and then I'll continue. Oakster's Live, I want to get you, since you gave me a donation earlier, I want to read your comment. He says, honestly, I was shocked that Georgia was left out because normally that's how they usually select. Yeah, I wasn't as shocked. I wasn't really shocked, but it would not have surprised me if they would have put them in, to be honest, just because of the quote-unquote SEC bias that we sometimes do see. And Georgia is a really good team. And yeah, Charles, you're right, man. There's a lot of conversation now brewing about these teams, Florida State specifically, trying to get out of the ACC even faster now. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward. Let me see if any channel members here have any comments other than the ones I've already read. Sasquatch 304, thank you for being in the house. John Christophic, thank you for being in here. Yeah, what's up, Sasquatch? Thank you, man, for your support. Sasquatch is also a VIP member. You see that little badge beside his name. If you want to be a VIP member, there's a join button you can click below. If you don't see a join button, I don't think they're on all devices. But you can go in the description box after the video is done, or if you're watching this on the replay, go in the description box, and there's a link where you can get over to my channel and become a channel member. There are perks that go along with it: early video access, special shout outs that I do in videos, things like that. You can have access to. And if you're a club level member, which is level 2, you get a few extra perks like special merch discounts, access to a private Discord server, those kind of things. But and also for club level members, occasionally I will share a video early, and I will give you put it on limited ads during that time frame, during that early time frame until I release it to the public, just to give you a chance to watch it with limited ad interruptions. I don't do that for everybody. I can't take all the ads off because YouTube doesn't allow that, but I can limit how many ads pop up in the middle of the video. All right, so I wanted to find, I'm going to look it up on Twitter. Remember, I'm live here, guys, so bear with me a second. I'm going to look up a really upsetting, I guess would be the best word to use, statement that was put out by Jordan Travis, Florida State quarterback, on his Twitter account about this situation. I'm going to share that with you guys here as soon as I get it pulled up. But it really kind of just shows how important this is to these players, the hard work they put in, and why Jordan Travis kind of has the weight of the world on his shoulders because the committee basically said, hey, this young man's injury is the reason they didn't get in. And that's got to be a heavy weight for this young man to carry. But let's look at it real quick. It says, this is Jordan Travis, FSU quarterback. He says, devastated, heartbroken, in so much disbelief right now. I wish my leg broke earlier in the season so y'all could see this team is much more than the quarterback. Man, think about that, guys. He says he wishes his leg had been broken earlier in the season. I thought results matter. 13-0, and this roster matches up across any team in those top 4 rankings. I am so sorry. Go Noles. First of all, Jordan Travis, you have nothing to apologize for, young man. You played your butt off. You played well. You helped your team earn a spot to play for a national championship, in my opinion. But unfortunately, because of the dumb criteria that this committee has, you got left out. And I think it's baloney. And they don't follow. And that's the thing. What makes them hypocritical? They haven't followed this criteria any other year, but this year they decide to. It's kind of garbage if you ask me. But anyway, but yeah, the NCAA just I don't know, man. Well, the NCAA didn't have anything to do with this, Kenny. I get your point, man, and I agree that. But the college football playoff is actually a separate entity, and the NCAA has nothing to do with it. So this is all on the college football playoff committee here. They need to change. They need to change their criteria, in my opinion. I don't think injuries should play a role in a decision like this at all. And yeah, Drico, I agree. Big 12 replacing SEC slots is funny. The media got to stop SEC bias. Yeah, we hear it means more. But yeah, they don't even have enough teams to fill these bowl games up. I want to also read a statement from Florida State AD that he put out as well. Let me find it here. Here it is, by Nicole Auerbach. I'm going to go ahead and let me do a screen share on this one as well. That way you guys can read it along with me. But here it says, the consequences of giving in to narrative of the moment are destructive, far-reaching, and permanent, not just for Florida State, but college football as a whole. The argument of whether a team is the most deserving or best is a false equivalence. It renders the season up to yesterday irrelevant and significantly damages the legitimacy of the college football playoff. The 2023 Florida State Seminoles are the epitome of a total team. To eliminate them from a chance to compete for a national championship is an unwarranted injustice that shows complete disregard and disrespect for their performance and accomplishments. It is unforgivable. The fact that this team has continued to close out victories in dominant fashion facing our current quarterback situation should have enhanced our case to get a playoff berth earned on the field. And I agree with that, by the way. Instead, the committee decided to elevate themselves and make history today by departing from what makes this sport great, by excluding an undefeated Power 5 conference champion for the first time since the advent of the BCS/CFP era that began 25 years ago. This ridiculous decision is a departure from the competitive expectations that have stood the test of time in college football. So, very big statement there from Michael Alford, the AD from Florida State. Jim Phillips put out, look, I'm not going to share all these, but Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, put out a statement. Mike Norvell, FSU coach, put out a statement. They've all put statements out, guys, as they should, defending or defending Florida State and talking about the idiocy of leaving Florida State out. And again, look, based on the criteria that the committee put forth, they probably made the right decision. What I have an issue with is the criteria, including injuries, and saying it's not the best, they're not the same team anymore. I just think that's ludicrous, especially in a game like football where injuries happen every single game. I don't think you can look at injuries and, what about the other 100 plus players on that football team? Did they not deserve it? Did they not do their part to win 13 games? I just don't understand it. It doesn't sit well with me. Again, their strength of schedule didn't match up to Alabama's. I get that. But that is not even the reason they kept them out. It's because of an injury, and that is baloney. Total bullcrap, in my opinion. They did it to a degree, Liza. You look at how they beat. They have Louisville, for example. Yes, they didn't score a lot of points on Louisville, but Louisville had a top 20 offense in the country, and they held them to 6 points, man. That's a dominant defensive performance. It's hard to argue that. Jace Johnson says he likes Duke's mayonnaise as well. But now let's get but anyway, just back to the CFP. Obviously, we're going to see number 1 team Michigan playing the number 4 team in Alabama. That'll be an interesting matchup. That'll be in the Rose Bowl. And then the other game is number 3 Texas playing number 2 Washington playing number 3 Texas. That's another interesting matchup too. Of course, the 2 winners will play the national title game. Personally, I think it'll end up being Alabama and Texas for the national championship. We'll see a rematch of the game that was played on week 2, and we'll see, if Alabama can get redemption against Texas for that early season loss. Now I want to talk about my team, West Virginia, and the fact that they have been selected to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl against an ACC opponent. As of now, the ACC opponent has not been decided. You guys let me know if during this live stream it may get announced. So if it does, let me know in the chat room, please. But the last statement I saw was by Chris Anderson over at earsports.com, which is an affiliate of 24/7 that covers West Virginia. He says, really only 2 teams as a possibility for WVU's opponent. UNC and Notre Dame. Much better than the pre-today predictions of Bowling Green or Memphis. So it'd be a great, great game for West Virginia to get to face Notre Dame. It'd be a great opportunity for this team. And even UNC would be an exciting opponent. If you remember back in mid-2000s, I don't remember the exact year. I think it was Pat White's senior year maybe, which would have been 2008. West Virginia played UNC in Charlotte. And I think at that time it was called the Continental Tire Bowl, I believe. And we were able to beat. It was a very good game. West Virginia ended up winning by, I think, 1 point or something. Hakeem Nicks was a star receiver for UNC at that time. Made a really great catch in that. One of the best catches I've ever seen in that game. But West Virginia and Pat White and company were able to win the game. So could be another exciting game like that against UNC if that's how it happens. But let's not. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but it's right in UNC's backyard, and that's true to a degree. But I'm telling you, West Virginia fans will go to that game. West Virginia has a very large alumni base in Charlotte. It's actually one of our largest, is my understanding. One of our largest alumni bases is in Charlotte. A lot of people from West Virginia moved to North Carolina for work. So there are a lot of West Virginia fans in North Carolina and even specifically the Charlotte area. And even the fans that are still in West Virginia can travel to Charlotte. For example, I live here in the southern part of the state. It's only a 3-hour car ride to get to Charlotte from my house. So of all bowl games we could get, this is actually the easiest for me to travel to. So I couldn't be more excited about it. Dustin Saltz, who's also a VIP member here, he says, looking good, brother. Keep up the top shelf work. Dustin, I really appreciate it, my man. And thank you for being a VIP member. Dexter, SEC bias does seem to be real here, man. Definitely. Car Care Bowl is what it was called. Luke, thank you for clarifying. The Meineke Car Care Bowl. Yeah, nighttime. Thank you, my man. I really enjoyed my time down at UCF. I was able to attend that game down there. Enjoyed my time in Orlando. So thank you for your support of the show, my man. What do I have here? I've got, hey, Sasquatch, thank you for the gifted memberships, my man. I really appreciate that. Means a lot to me, my brother. Thank you for gifting those memberships out to people. And I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Guys, if you received a gifted membership, you get access to the channel perks for the next month. Take advantage of those. Again, special shout-outs. You'll get special shout-outs during the show. Early access to some special videos. I'm ready to I'm going to be doing a contest here very soon. I'm now an affiliate marketer for ONIT Athlete Trading Cards. As you see at the bottom of the screen, I have a link in my description box. ONIT NIL Trading Cards go to support your favorite football program through NIL, and you also get yourself some cool trading cards. My plan is here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to get myself some of these ONIT trading cards, and I'm going to raffle those off to some of my channel, to a channel member. Actually, what I'll probably do the raffle first, because obviously the channel member will have to pick the team that they want. So that's my plan here going forward. I'm going to do a raffle and raffle off some ONIT NIL trading cards. It is taking forever, Tyler, and I think it's because the SEC not having enough teams kind of threw a wrench into this thing, so they're having to scramble and do it differently. And then now, for whatever reason, the ACC, I think it's a little confusing because Notre Dame, for whatever reason, the Notre Dame tie-in, I think, also throws some confusion into it. There are certain bowls they can't play in or something. I don't know, or maybe they get to pick the bowl. I don't know all the details behind it, but yeah. It's definitely, I think, throws a wrench into the situation. And Kenny, that's a great point, man. He says Golden Blue Dude would be happy. Rest in peace, brother. Yeah, Golden Blue Dude, he was living in South Carolina. Charlotte would have been a great location for him to attend the game, and I'm sure he would have been there with bells on. So I'm sure he's smiling down right now because West Virginia's going to get to play in a good bowl game. We thought we might end up in an Independence Bowl. There was a rumor we might even get the Birmingham Bowl and end up having to play a group of 5 team. Yet we may end up getting to play one of the top teams in the ACC conference. So, or the ACC. They don't like it when you say ACC conference because the C stands for conference. Got to correct myself. But anywho, Notre Dame, Oregon State in the Sun Bowl. Well, that leaves them out. So it looks like it could be us and UNC maybe. I don't know. We'll see. North Carolina is the opponent for WVU. Thank you, Jackson. So it looks like it'll be the Mountaineers and the Tar Heels in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And for those of you who don't know, most of you probably do, you follow college football, the winning coach of this game gets Duke's mayonnaise dumped over them as part of the post-game festivities. And that, could you imagine Neil Brown getting Duke's mayo poured over him? That would be pretty fun to watch. I'll adjust my camera here, guys. Thank you for that. But anyway, I guess Virginia Tech could still be an option. Jackson, did it actually get officially announced or what, man? Let me know. I'm going to check my phone here real quick while we're live on the air. West Virginia will play – what? Somebody just put we were playing Notre Dame, but I don't think that's true. I think that was a troll. Let me see. Anyway. It was announced by Brett McMurphy. Okay. Yeah, my man Mountaineer Paul put out an interesting tweet earlier. He says, well, WVU being out of place in the Big 12 geographically finally helped us for once. That's the true statement. Because we get an East Coast bowl game. Uh-oh. Just saw an interesting tweet from Amanda Kristovich, who was a sports reporter for Front Office Sports. She says, Florida lawmakers already have an appetite to propose state legislation to protest Florida State not making the college football playoff. A source close to lawmakers told Front Office Sports. It's unclear what direction a bill could take, but legislators are discussing a few options. Very interesting. WVU Football Going Deep. Thanks for coming in, my man. He also has a channel, guys. Go check out WVU Football Going Deep. He really takes deep dives into the West Virginia roster, into reasons why West Virginia wins or loses games, things like that. So go check out his channel. So let me go to Duke's Mayo page and see what they're saying, guys. I did follow them earlier today so that I could just says soon, so nothing official. But Brett McMurphy is saying it's the UNC, I guess. North Carolina and West Virginia will play in Duke's Mayo Bowl, according to Brett McMurphy. Very interesting. So that'll be a good game. I'd be excited about it. Much better than playing Memphis or much better than playing Toledo or some of the other teams we were rumored to be playing. Even better than some of the Big Ten teams we were rumored to be playing. Paul wants Louisville, and I do too. Have they been placed yet? I don't know for sure. Someone said they have. I saw someone in the comment earlier say they have been placed, but I'm not sure where. Again, I'm on here doing this, so I'm not able to keep follow what's going on live. But let me go find. I'll just see if I can pull up the tweet here that Brett McMurphy put out. Virginia Tech and Tulane in the Military Bowl. Miami and Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl. Notre Dame and Oregon State in the Sun Bowl. North Carolina, West Virginia in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Right there it is, folks. Per Brett McMurphy. North Carolina and West Virginia will play in Duke's Mayo Bowl. Kickoff December 27th at 5:30 p.m. Will air on ESPN. This is a great opportunity for Neil Brown to win a game against a quality opponent. Can he get it done? We'll see. Can he get it done? Unfortunately, UNC, it was not ranked in the final college football playoff ranking, so we still won't be able to say he beat a ranked team. As you see, I've got those on the screen now. Had we gotten to play someone like a NC State or Notre Dame or Louisville, we could have said, hey, yeah, he beat a ranked team finally. But now I don't know if they're in the AP poll or not. I haven't looked. I'm not sure what NC State's record is. You guys can let me know in the comments section. Hellbilly, another VIP member, says, honestly, FSU without QB1 wouldn't have a chance versus any of the teams in the college football playoff. It honestly wouldn't be fair for FSU. play the New Year's Six Bowl, beat a Georgia team that will have players sitting out. Hell, Billy, man, I totally disagree, man. The rest of the players on that team deserve a shot to play for a national championship. You're punishing a team for something they have absolutely no control over. Injury should never be part of a decision for something like this. Sports is decided on the field of play. It's a results-driven business. If the results don't matter, then you may as well not even play the game. That's how I feel. I feel really strongly about this. I think it's ridiculous. Again, based on the criteria they laid out, they made the right decision. But the criteria is absolutely dumb, in my opinion. Big Dan T, another VIP member, big supporter here. He says, in what university does Georgia not get in over Texas? BS. Big Dan T, I actually disagree with you on this one, my brother. Texas beat Alabama head-to-head. Alabama is the SEC champ. They beat Georgia head-to-head. So Texas, in my opinion, and I know Texas lost to Oklahoma, but again, head-to-head has to matter. To me, head-to-head should be one of the biggest criteria of all of it. I don't think the eye test should matter as much. I don't think injury should matter. I think it should matter what happens on the field. Yeah, thanks to Jackson Johnson for keeping us updated, guys. Sure thing. Thanks for reminding me that, Timothy. Dustin Saltz makes a great point. Dustin Drake May might sit out. We're going to be missing our center, Zach Frazier, for sure in this game because of his injury he sustained in the last game against Baylor. I'm not sure if we'll have any other guys sit out or not. Devin Carter may sit out because he's a senior, but again, he had already lost his starting job anyway. Hopefully we won't have anybody else sit out. I'm sure Garrett Green won't sit out because he's planning to come back next year. So I don't see him sitting out. So if we have anybody sit out, it likely won't be anybody that's going to play a lot anyway, just to be honest. It's in Charlotte, Big Dan T. It's close to us, brother. It's within driving distance. Hugh, I disagree, man. I don't see why you can say we don't stand a chance against North Carolina. Again, makes no sense. Why can West Virginia not beat North Carolina? Garrett Green, especially if Drake May sits out. Drake May is a Heisman candidate, man. If he's not playing, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Yeah, Jeffrey, you're right. They probably were not going to leave an SEC team out. The regular season should matter. If the regular season doesn't matter, then why play the games, man? It just makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. And I understand the people's argument. I respect people's opinions. I understand the argument against FSU and their strength of schedule. I get it. The ACC wasn't a great conference, but let's be frank, man. The SEC wasn't exactly a juggernaut this year. When you get past Georgia and Alabama, the SEC was not that much better, if at all, than any of the other conferences. As a matter of fact, the ACC went 6-4 against the SEC in head-to-head competition this year. So the SEC was not as strong this year, in my opinion anyway, as they were in years past. But yet we see both Missouri and Ole Miss get New Year's Six bowl games. And I think that's baloney, man. I don't think Ole Miss and Missouri both should have gotten a New Year's Six game. One of those spots should have went to Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. I don't agree with it at all. But again, that just goes to show you they value the SEC and the Big Ten more than these other conferences. That's why everything's moving to eventually maybe being a Power 2 structure. Yeah, absolutely, John. They're a tough team. Tough team. Ladzo makes a great point. Alabama hadn't lost since early, and Georgia hadn't played an opponent as good as Texas or Alabama. Guys, we're starting to get more people in here. Thank you, everybody, for being in. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. That like button, whether you're watching this live or watching it on the replay, that like button really helps the algorithm, helps push this out to more people. We'll get more eyes on this baby and hopefully get my channel to grow and get more people interested in Couz's Corner. Don't forget to comment, whether you're live again, whether you're live or in the replay. Commenting really helps the show, really helps the channel. And guys, if you're live right now and you want to make sure, I've got 185 people on this live stream. If you want to make sure you get your chat seen, all you have to do is drop a donation, hit the $ near the chat box. It'll highlight your comment and push it to the top, and I'll be able to read it. Because there's no way for me to get to every comment If you want to make sure I get to yours again, make that donation, and it highlights the comment. Big Dan T, who's a VIP member, says, at least next year these arguments will be mute. 14 playoffs were a bad idea to begin with. Bingo. It was a start, though. It was, supposedly better than the BCS system, which I'm not sure I agree with that. The BCS used computers a lot more than they did people. And I just think people's opinions can cloud things. Sometimes I wonder if the BCS wasn't actually a better system than what we have now. Missouri did earn it, Hellbilly. I'm not saying they didn't, but I'm not sure Ole Miss did. And I was under the impression, and I could be wrong. I haven't looked at the actual guidelines or whatever. I thought the Big 12 runner-up was guaranteed a New Year's Six game. Apparently, that's not the case. Eric, no problem, man. Yeah, Missouri had a good team this year. They did have a good team. Kudos to those guys. Bishop and Ruffin will be rested. Cutter will have time to really prep, and kickoff team will have time to practice with the same players after showing many changes during the season. Yeah, great point. I look for Bishop and Ruffin. Ruffin I don't think has any future in the NFL. And I'm not knocking him. He's just not an NFL caliber player. He was a great player. He contributed a lot for us this year, was a really solid player for us, did a good job playing that other corner spot, opposite of Beanie Bishop. But I look for Ruffin is not going to be sitting out the game, I don't believe. And I'm not even sure Bishop will. Now, Bishop could sit out if he wants to pursue his NFL dreams and wants to go start working on that. He might sit out the game. He's one I hadn't thought about. It'll be interesting to see how many of the West Virginia players do sit out this game. Again, we already know about Zach Frazier, but he has an injury he's trying to heal from, so that's totally understandable. It was a broken bone. I don't know exactly what bone, but my understanding is he broke a bone in that game against Baylor. Alabama should have been a team left out. Yes, some think that. But again, it's hard to leave out the SEC champion. Alabama was definitely the right decision. Don't want to see FSU get blanked up in the first round. Ty, I'm not going to ban you for that comment, but I don't get offended by that word. But sometimes YouTube might actually ding me for having that comment in my description. YouTube's funny about things. Sometimes they let things slide, sometimes they don't. But that word can cause a video to get demonetized at times because advertisers don't like it. But I'm not going to mute your comment, man. I'm not offended by it at all. Thank you, Chris. You've been with me from the get-go, man. You were one of my first, really one of the first people that I remember seeing on live streams and kind of my comment section, as well as people like, well, I don't want to leave anybody out, but just John Kelly, for an example. He was one of my first guys that I remember coming in and watching me. Got another super chat here, guys, from Big Dan T. Big Dan T, thank you for the support. He says, I am no UGA fan at all, but to me, a loss to OU midseason was much worse than a 3-point interception loss to Bama in the SEC championship. I just want the best teams in it, but that's just me. No, and that's fair, man. Like I said, I respect that opinion, and Georgia definitely deserved to be in the conversation. Here's another thing I thought about, Big Dan T, and I can't take credit for this. Somebody posted this on Twitter. I can't remember who, but one thing that if you're going to use the argument that FSU didn't deserve to be in over Bama because of the injury to the quarterback, then how can you justify putting Florida State at 5 over Georgia? Now, I know at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter whether you're 5 or 6. Either way, you don't get in. But why put Florida State ahead of Georgia? Georgia's quarterback is healthy. Georgia only lost by 3 points to Alabama. So why not put them at 5 and Florida State at 6 then? If that criteria means so much, then why even put them at 5? Why not just put them at 6? That's the part I have an issue with there. And also, they made a comment. SMU has an injured quarterback, and they said that was not part of the reason they left them out of the New Year's Six in favor of Liberty. So again, their reasoning never makes any sense to me. To me, it's not as much about the teams getting in and out. It's the way the committee handles this stuff. It's like they move the goalposts around depending on who they want in it, man. And I just think it's bogus. I cannot wait to get to it. And the people who are against the 12-team playoff, I'm hoping this will make them change their mind. Liberty's undefeated. Yeah, and I'm not even saying Liberty don't deserve the spot. But again, the argument they used to say the reason they put SMU in over Liberty is the opposite of what they said when they looked at Florida State and Alabama. I don't know, man. It's almost like, again, is it SEC bias? Are they putting the teams in they want in just to make better matchups for TV? Does ESPN actually get a say in this thing? I don't know, man. It definitely makes you question the integrity of this process, in my opinion. It's hard not to. 18 playoff. A lot of people wanted 18 playoff. Some people think 12 is too many. Anthony says, Couz with the 12-team playoff starting next year, probably would it make sense to mix the criteria and the selection process for the playoff with the BCS computer model and a voting panel? I think so, Anthony. I actually like having a computer model. In this day and age of AI and all the technology we have, there is no reason analytics should not be a part of this equation. And maybe they are. I don't know. But I think it needs to be a bigger part of the equation than what they're making it today. Because it takes all the guesswork out of it. It takes any potential biases out of it. It takes human nature out of it. Because we in human nature, we're going to look at things based, through our own lenses, right? So we're going to have some built-in bias, some biases that we might not even know we have, right? That are just built in. And it takes that out when you use a computer. I'm not saying human nature. I mean, obviously every sport uses some kind of poll and rankings, but I just think there should be a computer model that has a little bit heavier weight than what they use right now in the CFP committee. Politics have infected the CFP. Very possible, man. Andrew Smith, who's a VIP member, says crazy FSU move was like seeing them do that to us. And, I saw a couple comments, this thing's going to go to 12 teams next year. And look, could we in the future see, they say West Virginia goes 10-2 one year and wins the Big, or say they don't win the Big 12, but they're runner up. They're 10-2, but they don't win the Big 12 because both losses were in conference. Somebody else finishes 11-1, whatever. We finish 10-2 and have a chance at an at-large bid, but they don't give it to us. They give it to a team that's an SEC team or a Big Ten team that finishes 9-3 or 8-4. That's very much a possibility. And it's not just West Virginia. I'm just saying that as a West Virginia fan. It could happen to any team who's not a blue blood, in my opinion. Any team who's not a blue blood is at risk for having this. And now Florida State's a blue blood, in my opinion. And it happened to them. So don't think it couldn't happen to a team like West Virginia or Kansas State or Oklahoma State, somebody like that. Because it could very easily happen. Again, guys, got almost 200 people on here, or 176 to be exact. You want to make sure your chat gets read. Drop a donation below. We're near the chat box. Hit the $sign and it'll highlight your comment for me, and I'll be sure to see it. Because I can't. I'm not guaranteed to see it if you don't highlight it because there's too many for me to keep up with. But again, have there been any updates? I'll tell you what. I'm going to throw the link. I'm going to do something I don't do a whole lot of. I'm going to throw the link to this in the comment box. Link to this live stream. If you want to come on, be sure. I'm going to let you guys come on and vent and speak your mind about this whole situation. I'm going to ask that you not linger a long time because there may be other people behind you. But I'm going to let you come on, speak your piece about the Florida State thing, about the West Virginia thing, and then we'll move on to the next person. So I'm going to put the link in the description box for this live stream, or in the comment box, I mean. Do a little call-in show here. There's the link. Anybody who wants to join the show, and you guys VIP members will get first dibs. If you're a VIP member, you want to come on, be sure to hit that link If you're not a VIP member, doesn't mean I won't let you on. But anytime if a channel member chimes in before you, they're going to get first dibs. We got our first caller here. Let me get my headphones on so I can hear. Anthony Manzano, thank you for joining the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, Couz, how are you today, man?
Doing great, man. Thank you for being
honestly,
here.
For me, I'm not criticizing to me, Washington, I feel honestly that Florida State and Washington, just because you went undefeated and won your conference championship doesn't necessarily mean you're one of the 4 best teams in the country. Look at how weak their conferences were. Like, I'm a Hurricanes fan, and I felt both conferences were weak. For me, the best teams were Georgia, Texas, Michigan, and Alabama. In my honest opinion, like I don't understand the Washington. If you put Washington in, why not put Florida State in? Because they were in an undefeated conference championship. Why not just put a Georgia who lost by 1 point against? That's the 4 best teams. Like, I understand they won their conference championship, are undefeated, but does that necessarily mean you're the best team in the one of the 4 best teams in the country?
No, it doesn't. And that's, again, they're not necessarily, but that's why I say I don't like the criteria they use. The criteria they use is to find the 4 best teams, right? Not the 4 most deserving teams. I think personally it should be the most deserving teams. And what bothers me is, if you look at last year, or I don't even know if last year's a great example because all the 2
years ago, 2 years ago,
they put teams. It's like they move the goalpost on us, man. Every year they'll give an excuse as to why they let a team in over another, and then the next year it's like the reason changes, or they say the opposite thing. You know what I mean? It's the committee just moves the goalpost, man. And if they would just, I think this might be the first year they have actually followed the criteria to a T. In past years, they didn't follow the criteria to a T necessarily.
My question is, how the hell do you have Florida State above Georgia? I understand they went undefeated, but they lost their quarterback.
Right. See, and that's another thing. I don't think injuries should play a role in this either. It does, unfortunately, because that's part of the criteria again. But I just don't think it's fair to punish the rest of the team because their quarterback got injured. You know, that's
but I'll be a devil's advocate on this. Maybe the reason why that's part of the criteria is because they feel if the team doesn't have their starting quarterback, they feel that they're not going to be able to compete with the other teams who have healthy quarterbacks, and they felt that they might not even have a fair chance.
But how do you know that if you haven't played the game yet?
No, but they're doing aren't most of these what's it called? Most of these playoff rankings hypothetical scenarios based on what the committee thinks how the game is going to play out. Yeah,
it is hypothetical, but it shouldn't be, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's unfair, but it's the reality of the thing, which is I agree with you. They should do it if they're going to a 12-team playoff, they should use the NFL model, how they determine their playoff teams. 2 wildcard teams. The number 11 and number 12 are wildcard teams, and the rest are automatic bids into the or numbers 1 through 5 are automatic. Numbers 6 through 9 are at large. 6 through 10, my mistake. 6 through 10 are at large, and then the top 12 would be the last 2 would be a wild card.
Right.
Would that be the same concept as a wild card and an would you say at large and wild card are the same concept?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the 12-team playoff model we're going to. I actually like. I have no issue with the new model we're going to next year. The 5+7 model, I think, is what they're leaning to. You know, 5 top-rated conference champs and 7 at-larges. I think that's the right answer to this right now. That's probably, you know,
wait,
it's not exactly
it's not
exactly like the
convoluted?
NFL model, but it's close.
Is my thing too convoluted? How I want it to be? Set?
No, it's not convoluted. Maybe a little bit. I think for college football it might be a little bit much.
It would be hard to determine the wild card.
I think so. But to me, a wild card is the at-large bids and wild card are the same thing to me. That's
okay.
See what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, having a mixture of actually, my mistake. Not at-large bids. You eliminate the at-large bids. The top 5 is automatic. They get automatic bids, but I forgot. I'm not going to use at-large. They get home field advantage. The 6 through 10 gets home field advantage automatically.
Right.
But the top 5 gets a bye in the first round. Like they have to play the first 16. The next 6 through 12 has to play the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Then whoever wins that round, they go into a divisional round.
Right. All right. Well, Anthony, I appreciate you coming on, man. I've got other guests I want to get to, but I appreciate your input.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too. Take care of yourself, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Okay. You too. Have a good day.
Kenny, how you doing?
You're doing good, Couz. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Is this Kenny? What's your last name?
Evans.
Oh yeah, you're Kenny Evans. Got you. Channel VIP member here. Thank you, man.
I'd just like to say that I think Florida State should have been in. And have you heard anything from the ACC, maybe petitioning or anything of that nature to defend Florida State?
They put out a statement to defend them. The only thing I've heard about as far as petitioning goes would be Florida State the state of Florida is thinking about putting in some kind of legislation. I don't know what that means, but they're basically going to protest it. Is all they're looking to figure out some way to protest it from a legislative perspective. I don't think that really does anything, but
do you think it'll make them leave any sooner?
It could. It really could. I mean, let's look at. I mean, I don't know. It hurt their strength of schedule, I guess, by being in the ACC. At least according to the committee, right?
Yeah.
Have they been in the SEC or the Big Ten? Maybe their strength, which I don't even know.
If they'd have been in the Big Ten, they'd have been playing.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. And that's a matter of opinion whether you think that's a stronger conference or not. But I mean, I think the Big Ten's, if you look at 1 through 3, they are. But once you get past Penn State, I'm not sure how good the Big Ten is.
Yeah,
you know.
Well,
but yeah,
great show,
I definitely.
Man.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate your continued support, man, and for coming on and giving us your thoughts.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I want to get to the super chat here from A. Gilst. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, Couz, great show. Hope WVU plays Duke in Mayo Bowl. Look forward to Kansas playing WVU in January. Won't be the same without Huggins. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Allen. Yeah, man, actually, it's already been announced we're playing North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a good game, good matchup. ESPN's already got it listed as our next game on the schedule. I just noticed as I was looking at the app there a minute ago. So yeah, we're in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I am definitely I'm always going to be nervous about playing Kansas because Lance Leipold's doing a great job there. But now that Andy Kotelnicki is gone, I'm a little less nervous. It'll be interesting to see how Jim Zabrowski does there as the offensive coordinator, assuming he's going to be calling the plays for Kansas. But thank you for the comment and for the super chat there, Alan Gilst. Again, guys, I'll take 1 or 2 more calls if you guys are interested. I left the link in the description box for you. I'll leave it again. Give you guys a chance to come on, speak your piece. And now, Charles, I know you said you don't like the new model Somebody needs to organize an alternative playoff for the 8 left out schools. Well, they did that. It's called the 12-team playoff. They're doing it next year. Notre Dame versus Beavers in Juarez Bowl. That's funny. Yep. Thomas, thank you, man. Thanks for letting us know. But yeah, we did. Someone else told me earlier in the chat. But yeah, thank you for letting us make sure we were aware of that. Old Golden Blue says, I think he meant basketball, Couz. He said in January, LOL. Oh yeah, he did. I'm sorry about that, Alan. I totally forgot. Or I totally skimmed past that. I am looking. Kansas is coming to Morgantown this year. It's not going to be a very good game, I don't believe. West Virginia is struggling in basketball this year. We only have 7 or 8 guys that we can play at the moment. Now, we will have one of those guys back at least by the time we start Big 12 play, hoping to have more back. But as of right now, West Virginia is going to struggle. We're just not deep enough to compete with the good teams, especially in the Big 12. Got Jackson Johnson as a guest. Thank you, Jackson. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me on, Couz.
Yeah, man. What's that?
It's an honor being on Couz's Corner tonight.
Oh, thank you, man. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. I'll give you a couple minutes to, ask any questions, give your thoughts about this whole college football playoff scenario, and then, so yeah, go for it, man. What do you think?
Well, I gotta be honest with you, Couz. I think that Florida State's going to be trying to make an announcement that we're going to join the SEC or we're going to join the Big Ten. Honestly, I'm kind of feeling like ESPN's trying to push them to join the SEC in a way.
You think so?
Oh, I got a feeling that's what's happening.
It could be. It could definitely expedite the process, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they destroyed the Big East. They took part in destroying the Pac-12. It would not surprise me if they destroy the ACC at some point. May not be next year or year after that, but eventually they will.
Right. So, Jackson, who's your team, man?
Oh, I'm a Crimson Tide.
Oh, Roll Tide. So you're not upset at all that Florida State got left out, are you?
Well, honestly, I'm happy that Bama's in, but at the same time, I recognize that this is not a good thing for college football, unfortunately, because it hurts the sport. Florida State being left out, it's kind of like, wait a minute, 2014 Ohio State got in despite the fact that they had a third string quarterback, and we dealt with the same thing. You're telling us that we shouldn't be in because Jordan Travis got hurt against North Alabama? Really?
Yeah, the only problem I have, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory's not real good when it comes to this stuff, but back when Ohio State got in with Cardell Jones,
right?
He had already played a game or two, right?
He was halfway in the Michigan game, but he played the whole game in the Big Ten championship game with the 59-0 victory over Wisconsin.
And he looked phenomenal.
Yeah,
right.
He was amazing.
That's a big difference to me. I think it had the third string quarterback from Florida State come out and they win the game 42-0, or put up 40 points or something. That might have changed the conversation.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So to me, that Ohio State comparison is not exactly the same. But my whole point of this is I don't think it should play a role at all. I think if your team wins, you deserve a spot. I don't give a crap who's injured and who's not injured. Injuries should not be part of the criteria, in my opinion. I just think, especially in a sport like football where injuries happen every single day, and you got a team with over 100 guys on it, and you're basically telling those other 100 guys that what they did was meaningless because one of their team, and I get it, it's the quarterback, but you're telling them that one of their teammates got hurt, so you don't get a chance to play in the game that you earned. I just it didn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? As a guy who's grew up playing sports, watching sports, it's all about the competitiveness. Who's better than who on the field. And to me, telling the team they don't deserve it because one guy on their team is injured is it's almost like why even play the game in the first place, Well, and I can't help but think, because I hear that Florida State's like, oh, we want to boycott the Orange Bowl. It's like, no. Play in the Orange Bowl, beat Georgia's butt, show the committee a thing or two why they shouldn't left you out.
If I were Mike Norvell, I would use that as motivation.
Yeah. Oh, he will. I guarantee he will.
Like they should do what they did in Major League, just win the whole freaking thing.
I hope. See, Florida State plays Georgia, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
I hope, and I have nothing against Georgia. They're a great team, but I hope Florida State goes out and pounds Georgia into the dirt, man, and proves a point.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that happen.
Well, and I will say that I am looking forward to seeing West Virginia and North Carolina, but I can't help but wonder what's happening with the status of Drake May. Is he sitting out? Is he playing?
Right.
If West Virginia wins the Duke Mayo Bowl, this is going to be a lot of momentum for the 2024 season.
I agree.
And, it's going to help Neil Brown big time.
What worries me, though, a little bit is if Drake May does sit out, there's still going to be those on the outside, and even in our own, because there are a lot of people in our own fan base who still aren't sold on Neil Brown over one season, right? Because we didn't have we ended up playing a soft Big 12 schedule. So a lot of people are using that against him. And, number one, UNC's not ranked, so that hurts us a little bit.
Yeah.
And then if Drake May sits out, you're going to have that segment that always says, well, they didn't have their starting quarterback. That's the reason we won. And so I hope Drake May plays in the game. I don't think he will, but I hope he does. And that way, if we win the game, it's a little bit stronger case, in my opinion, to the naysayers on how good this West Virginia team really is.
Yeah, because, Neil Brown's going to have to really have a really good season next year. And they obviously can't go 6-6 or 7-5, especially with Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12.
Right. Exactly.
So,
yep.
But I can't help but, have a good laugh at Central Florida, Duke having a rematch against one another. Central Florida, they've been kind of the Jekyll and Hyde of the Big 12.
Now, what bowl game was that in? I haven't been able to follow that.
Gasparilla Bowl.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, Jackson, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna be jumping off here shortly, man. But I appreciate you coming on, and thank you for supporting the show.
Thank you for having me on, Couz.
Absolutely,
and it's an honor calling in on the show.
Now, don't you have a show of your own?
Oh yeah, I have a show called The Jacksonian.
Okay.
On my YouTube channel, and I also put episodes of it on my Twitter as well.
Okay. All right, so go check out the Jacksonian and follow Jackson. What's your Twitter handle?
It's at Jackson09960335. And my YouTube handle is at JacksonJohnson979.
Okay. So everybody go check Jackson out. Try to find him on Twitter and on YouTube and check out his show. Jackson, thanks a lot, man.
Well, thank you for having me on, Coach.
Enjoy the rest
It's
of your
an
day.
honor being on here.
Yes, sir. And yes, I agree, Killer Breeze. By the way, Killer Breeze is a pretty regular contributor over at the Outlaw of College Football. So go check out the Outlaw of College Football. Killer Breeze is an Oklahoma fan, and I think Oklahoma got screwed today by not getting a New Year's Six bowl game. Just my opinion. Ocho, I'm going to be doing that shortly myself, my man. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to get you on. I was trying. Maybe next time, brother. But anyway, guys, I've got another super chat here I got to recognize. Thomas Burrows, $1.99 super chat. Thank you for the support. He says, what bowl is Pitt in? They are in the toilet bowl because we know what they eat. I'm leaving it at that. All right. Killer Breeze, what's up, man? Guys, thanks a lot for coming on, for supporting the show here. Don't forget, if you haven't yet on your way out, hit that like button. It helps this video because this video will still be posted up. If you didn't catch the whole show, you can go back and watch the replay. You hit the like button on that as well. Be sure to drop a comment in the comment section if you haven't yet. And be sure to let your family, friends, neighbors know about Couz's Corner if they like hearing about Big 12, West Virginia, and or conference realignment. With all that said, guys, I'm bowing out. I'm going to go try to enjoy the rest of the evening with my family, watch some TV, and get ready for another work week. So with that being said, guys, have the top shelf rest of your day. And don't forget to cue country roads while you're at it.